At some point in time.
Fair.
At some point in time. At some point in time. Yeah. See, my headphones are not working. I feel like was it Jay-Z? Yeah, I got Eminem. I got no snare in my headphones. I got no. Oh my God, you guys are so young. Learn pop culture. Any part of pop culture, learn it, please. I mean, Eminem, you guys should know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
You're looking
That's
at me like, who candies?
No, I know who Eminem is.
Who's Eminem?
I am familiar with,
All right,
the
I'm not
90s rapper from Detroit.
I'm not putting you. Okay, first of all, he was a 2000 rappers from Detroit. I'm old. I'm not that old. Okay, all right. Nate John's joining us tonight as well. Ricky Turner, as always, sitting in the producer chair. I'm Zach Grady. Thank you for joining us on WBRE WYOU 2822 Sports Night. Another big day from the pitch and the FIFA World Cup. An afternoon of softball at Scranton University. Big news last night from the NBA as we get ready for the NBA draft. And the NFL, it never stops. It never, ever, ever stops. Oh, and a new coach in Dallas. Not Dallas here in Pennsylvania, but Dallas down in Big D, taking the M away from Michigan.
Yes.
In Dusty May.
Yep.
So a lot going on overnight from the last time that we spoke to you here on WBRE, WYOU 2822 Sports Night. I'm Zach Grady. Thank you for joining us, as always, on the CTV app, which you can download on Amazon, Apple, and Roku TVs. But let's keep it local right to begin with. Second half of the MILB season starting up with the Rail Riders remaining on the road. They're out in Indy right now. And the Crosscutters back home. They're at 10 out of 12 winners of their last 12 games. They're red hot. They're a full game out behind the Trenton Thunder. This is the Crosscutters here, right? That was Nick Barone just sliding in. Yeah. Nick Barone, local prospect out of Montoursville, as well. Maddox Delina out of Loyal Sock, and Brett Antolik out of
Wyalusing?
Hazleton area.
Hazleton area. Yes, Hazleton area. All a big contribution to the Crosscutters as they've gone on they had an 8-game winning streak, just shy of 9. In fact, actually, they had a comeback in the 9th inning, almost made it 9, but then came back the next day and walloped Aberdeen 14-6. Winners, as I said, of 10 of the last 12, now coming home to take on the State College Spikes. That's today at 6:35. But yeah, Ricky, some local prospects leading the way, huh?
Yeah, and it's always good to see local prospects coming back here. I mean, you heard watching back of Joe Garrison's interviews with Nick Barone. He talked a little bit about this being his last year, of college eligibility, getting ready for the draft, and sort of having his friends and family being able to see him one last time before hopefully he's picked up by an MLB team when that time comes. But yeah, talked about it being real special to come back here to Williamsport, a stadium he's familiar with, and perform in front of some fans for maybe the last time, like around this area.
I got to imagine at some point in time he probably played at Bauman Field, right? I mean, whether it was a travel team, AAU, or some championship, I got to imagine at some point he had played there before, right?
I'd imagine, yeah. I mean, I think Losac Township, right?
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's had a good showing here at Bauman Field, even if he hasn't played there thus far.
12 RBI, 3 home runs so far for the season, absolutely.
But it's been a good showing for them so far.
Yeah, game out from Trenton. So how do you think they keep it rolling tonight?
I think just stick with what's been working. Keep trusting those bats at the top of the lineup. Like we said, local kids have been making an impact. So just staying out of the way, because baseball is a game of rhythm and streaks and superstition. So just, again, stay out of the way. Keep up with what's been working for them.
And I know Brody Akers is not a local kid, but he's the starting shortstop, and he has been on fire. Yes. He was 5 for 5 in his last game, 4 RBI, a couple of home runs in the stretch against Aberdeen when they're on the road down to Maryland. So yeah, I mean they have really, after a 500 start, I think they were 4-5 or something like that to begin the year. I mean, they've been red hot as they've jumped all the way up to the top, game behind Trenton, who they have a series coming up with before the end of the month as well. But it's a fresh start for the Rail Riders. Fresh start for the Rail Riders, who finished up the first half 37-37. They were 500, finished 6th place behind Rochester, who locked up the automatic spot for the playoffs at the end of the year. So, I mean, for the Rail Riders, how do they improve on where they were? Because, again, 500 is not a bad record, but doesn't get you into the playoffs. So how do they improve? How do they get to where they need to get to go ahead and hopefully secure that second half playoff spot?
I think it starts with the pitching. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, Ricky, that the pitching has really been sort of where some of the problems for the Rail Riders have been. Yariel Henriquez has been lighting things up in the batter's box, but outside of Brendan Beck, the pitching just hasn't been consistent enough. It's been a real roller coaster for them on the mound. Carlos LaGrange hasn't necessarily met the expectations that his prospect status have come with, and then it's letting those young guys get their feet as well. George Lombard has had those struggles to get his feet going in AAA, but as the season goes on, you're hoping that sort of evens out. But getting better production out of the starting pitcher is definitely an important thing to turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, they were in the middle of the standings, had their highs, had their lows. I think towards the middle of that stretch, they couldn't put together a win streak. They had I think a 2-game win streak in the beginning of June, and then it didn't go back until the middle or towards the end of June. So I think the pitching has been a big problem for them outside of Brendan Beck. But as you mentioned, those prospects that you've got, they've got to start living up to the hype. Lombard's going to have a better second half of the season, you're hoping. Some of these younger guys that they have in the lineup, I think really need to start getting their feet wet. And this is probably what they're hoping, that maybe they expected these first half of the year struggles, and now second half of the year, you're hoping these younger guys pick it up and sort of get it going on the offensive end.
Yeah, and it doesn't help even though you're losing some of your top hitters, like Ali Sanchez gets called up. That's another name that's missing. Jason Dominguez is back up after some of the injuries that they've dealt with. Part of it's going to be you're going to have some of those guys that are on rehab assignments coming back from injuries. Maybe that can get the juice and give some of those young guys a little bit of mentorship to help find their footing at AAA, especially since you're probably looking at Aaron Judge, who was a huge part of that 2016 AAA championship team.
Okay, but I mean, you can't really have Ali Sanchez and Jason Dominguez as part of your long-term game plan here at AAA. Both of those guys are supposed to be on the 46-man roster. Both of those guys are supposed to be not the 26-man roster. Those guys are supposed to be in the Bronx. They're not supposed to be here in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. I think, as you guys were talking about pitching, it comes more down to the fact that after Brendan Beck, see, my headphones just turned on. Like, now I have it in both ears. I don't know what the problem is or what changes, but halfway through the show, I get headphones in both ears. Now I have both. I didn't have it before. Now I have one. At least we're only 7 minutes into the show. Hopefully that doesn't change. I'm not going to move now. But yeah, I mean, Beck 7-2. He's got 2 Pitcher of the Week awards already from MILB. But behind him, you have Dom Hamill, who's 2-8. Yeah. And I mean, his ERA has plateaued, but it's plateaued. It's still above 3. I mean, it's not that he has lived up because at one point in time, he was a top prospect as well. He was a top 30 prospect in the Mets organization when he was a part of that group coming up alongside of people that now are in the big leagues with, a Christian Scott or Nolan McLean. Those were the type of names that he was coming up alongside when he was part of that organization before he came over to Scranton Wilkes-Barre and the Yankees organization. There's no number 2. There's no number 3. I mean, offensively, you do have some stars in the lineup. I mean, Kennedy Corona has been playing out of his mind as of recently. You mentioned Yanquiel Fernandez. George Lombard's been playing well. They just brought up Garrett Martin behind the plate. So there are some guys there offensively, but these games are shootouts. They need to score 6, 7, 8, 9 runs every game to be able to make sure that they're have a chance at it before they can get to the bullpen. That, again, I mean, Eric Reiselman came in and got the save the other night. That's his first save of the year. So to say that, an Ali Sanchez or Jason Dominguez, those aren't guys that you should be counting on. Now, one thing you did mention is an Aaron Judge well, you may get him in the lineup for a couple of games. You may get Giancarlo Stanton in the lineup for a couple of games. The key is those games are games you need to win. If you have, and that's what didn't happen with Austin Wells. You have a starting catcher in your lineup hitting 2 home runs and 3 feet away from hitting a 3rd home run there, and you can't win the game. I mean, that's when you need to take advantage of these rehab opportunities, these rehab assignments. When you do have Dominguez here, when you do have Wells here, when you do ultimately, if it happens, and I don't know if it will, but I would love to see Aaron Judge here, even if it's just for 1 night or 2 nights. Same thing with Giancarlo Stanton to get their swing and their timing back. You just, again, recently in Binghamton, you just saw Francisco Lindor be in Binghamton, and then the next night he was in Syracuse for 2 nights. So clearly there's an opportunity with these rehab starts to get a pop in your bat, but they need a pop on the mound. They need someone behind Brendan Beck to do something at this point in time.
Yeah, and their second leading person in wins is someone from the bullpen, Yvonne Cruz, who's arguably been their best bullpen option. But yeah, you mentioned it. There's got to be more production out of the starting pitching. I mean, you can't win a shootout every night. There's going to be games your offense has an off night, and you need someone other than your big name players at the plate to make plays. And the starting pitching really just hasn't been there for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders.
Well, you mentioned shootouts, you mentioned big name stars, and those certainly have come to the forefront when it comes to this year's FIFA World Cup, because whether it be Messi, Ronaldo, Harry Kane, Haaland, Balogun now, and a few others, this has been a tournament of riches and of stars, and that did not stop this morning as Portugal hit the pitch. So we're going to hit a break here, and when we get back, we're going to check in on our 2026 Summer of Soccer coverage right here on WBRE, WYOU 2822 Sports Night. Did we all get our hydration break in?
We did.
What'd you get? What'd you go with?
Water.
What'd you go with?
I went with purple Gatorade.
Purple. Is that your choice? Purple.
Yes.
What's your color of choice? Whoa, okay. What's your Gatorade color of choice? I'm not trying to get you in trouble, Ricky.
Yeah. Gatorade color of choice. I do like grape.
All right, wait. Like Gatorade Zero or regular Regs Gatorade?
Purple Gatorade Zero.
Gatorade Zero. Okay.
I usually do the regular Gatorade, but I'm gonna go with blue just to mix it up.
Okay.
I like cool blue.
Okay.
Glacier Freeze,
Okay.
One of the two.
Am I messed up that I like lemon lime? I like the old school, just Regs lemon lime.
It's not bad. Again, what that reminds me of when drinking the lemon lime is when I'm sick.
Really?
Yeah, because I usually drink that.
No, that's the orange because that's the
Yeah.
Pedialyte. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think of.
I do like orange as well.
Yeah, orange is good. Orange is good. I mean, purple's good too. I mean, there's not too many Gatorade flavors that I'm not a big fan of, but red is solid. But I got to get the Gatorade Zero if I'm doing the red. I can't do the.
Oh yeah, that's
the red is too heavy.
it is.
Yeah.
Yo, did you see? Or you see Vita Vea on the practice field last year when he was just shotgunning Gatorade can? Have you guys ever had a Gatorade can, by the way?
I have not.
Gatorade cans are good.
I know that was big when MJ's time, I believe.
Okay, the cans are better than the bottles. And I think that in everything. Like, a Diet Coke in a can tastes better than a Diet Coke in a bottle to me.
I mean, I don't drink soda, so I can't touch that one.
Okay, well, do you drink things?
I don't drink a lot of canned things.
What do you drink?
I'm a big lemonade guy.
Okay, they make lemonade in cans.
I don't think
And
I've
it made
had.
lemonade.
I don't think I've had.
You never had Country Time lemonade in a can?
Not that I can think of.
It's good.
Ooh,
There's something about cans that keeps it colder than plastic.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I just there's something about the can that I think keeps it colder than plastic. I don't know. Like I said, but I mean, a fountain drink is still that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Well, you don't drink soda, so he doesn't know. Why did we bring him on? Why do I change the schedule so this kid can be a part? Just sits there, silence, judging me, looking at me like I'm an old
We're
man.
not judging. We're observing.
What's the trend that's going around now? We listen, we don't judge. We listen and we don't judge. You know who was being judged? Who was being judged hard after one game?
Ronaldo.
Ah, you got it. You got it. Finally got one. Yes. Yeah, Ronaldo after his first game. There was some questions to whether or not he should still be in the starting lineup. There were some questions to whether or not he should relieve himself of the captainship and come off the bench as a sub. I don't know. I think he answered those questions today. Although, I mean, again, granted, it was against Uzbekistan, but 2 goals, very close to having the hat trick. Do you think it was just... Nate, do you think it was just the level of competition, or do you think it was Ronaldo trying to silence the doubters?
I think it's a little bit of both. Of course, when you're in the position where Portugal is, where you need that kind of bounce back win, they got it today over Uzbekistan 5-0. And when you're a competitor, you use that as motivation. You use that as the fuel. And we saw that in the first half. Of course, Ronaldo opened up the scoring, and then from there on, Portugal found their footing. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if they could keep this up in an even bigger stakes game as they try to wrap up first place in the group. But you have to be incredibly encouraged with what you saw today from Ronaldo and from the Portugal team as a whole.
Yeah, and Ronaldo setting a record, first player to score in 6 World Cups. Of course, Messi again I think he's...
Does Messi technically become the first player to play in 6 World Cups only just because they were on the table first?
That's what I was trying to correct myself. But yeah, no, I think it was a little of both. Anytime you're a great player, all-time great player, and you have the type of performance that you personally wouldn't like, but then you have media pundits, soccer fanatics saying, maybe it's Ronaldo's time to come off the bench. This is a young Portugal team that's moving into the future. Maybe he should do the right thing. And he bounces back against, again, not a great Uzbekistan team. Has 2 goals. The first goal was real nice. It was a tough goal. Tapped it in, very similar to the one he missed. I think a game earlier where he could have let it go into another teammate, but put that one in. He gets back on track, but I think, again, I do think he's a little bit of a diva.
Well, you had mentioned the goal that he needed to tap that he almost had, where if he let it go, it's a surefire goal for Portugal, and Portugal gets the win instead of the draw. So, and I mean, a lot of people have made that claim that this team could be much, much better if it didn't play through Ronaldo. It played it with Ronaldo, but the offense is 100% through Ronaldo. So, you admit 5-0 against the Uzbeks. Do you think he should have still been out there trying to get the hat trick?
Again, I didn't expect them to pour it on. My friends were talking. They sort of they did end up pouring it on, but but it's tough because you don't want him to get hurt.
They poured it on, and not only did they pour it on, they did it specifically trying to get Ronaldo a 3rd goal.
And I get that, but yeah, I could understand the point of him trying to be out there, but. Again, did you need him to be out there? No, probably not. You're up 2-0. Uzbekistan's not coming back from that. But again, he needs some goals. He needs some confidence building, and probably wasn't a bad idea. But some younger players did end up scoring as well. They did end up getting the big win against Uzbekistan. So I can't fault them for him being out there.
Yeah, and when goal differential is as important as it is in this World Cup specifically, where if Portugal loses, goal differential is going to be very important in determining whether or not they move on. So Ronaldo being out there makes sense. you got his confidence up, and you did rotate some of those younger players in to get them that necessary experience, and you handled business in a way that you really needed to, especially after how their first game went, and gave yourself some confidence to be able to go ahead and put away game 3.
Okay, Portugal's moving on. I mean, at this point in time, that's not in question. They're playing straight up against Colombia for the group at this point. Winner wins, loser loses. It does matter when it comes to their placing, though. Obviously, goal differential when it comes to second and third place this year with the expanded field will make a big, big difference in who you see in that round of 32 and then following it up in the round of 16. So, I mean, I understand at this point in time wanting to get the goals, but it seemed that it wasn't they wanted to necessarily get Portugal goals. It seemed like they wanted to get Ronaldo goals. I mean, they were clearly playing the offense to get Ronaldo a third goal, and that's fine. I mean, I understand it, but at some point in time, yeah, you do have a big match coming up against Colombia to determine who's going to win that particular group, and it doesn't matter for goal differential at this point. I mean, that one's just heads up. Who wins that one wins the group, and whoever doesn't is going to be in second. But yeah, I mean, it will matter necessarily who you see in the second round. I mean, as you know, we're looking at the way that the 32 and I mean, ultimately, it's positioning yourself for the round of 16. That's where it comes down to. Is with the amount of teams that will get through to 32, it's positioning yourself in the round of 16 to who am I going to see? How do I avoid Spain? How do I avoid France, Argentina? How do I avoid, the Netherlands or Germany in that round of 16? Because, again, as we're looking at through American eyes, okay, cool. Bosnia, Herzegovina or Qatar, is likely the opponent in the round of 32. You're better than both of those teams. Should be a win. That has to be a win. Because if no matter what happens in this group, if they lose in the round of 32 to Bosnia Herzegovina or Qatar, this is not a successful World Cup appearance. Now, if they move on, if in the round of 16 you're matched up England, you're matched up with Germany, Brazil, I don't think they would get Argentina or France. Obviously, they're going to be at the top. But again, you may get a Brazil. You may get Japan, who's been playing very, very well. You may get Morocco, who's been playing very, very well. You're not necessarily going to win those matchups. But again, I think, if you lose to England in the round of 16, I think, okay, the Outlaws could be excited, could be happy about that. But if you lose to Morocco, if you lose to Japan in the round of 16, I don't feel like this would be a successful World Cup appearance. Ultimately, I don't know if the United States can win. It would take them having to have 3 of the greatest performances of all time back to back to back. Because once you get to the round of 8, you have to beat a team that is much, much better than you. When you're in the round of 8, the semifinals or the finals, you're going to have to beat teams that are much, much better than you. You're going to have to beat Spain. You're going to have to beat Argentina. You're going to have to beat Germany. You're going to have to beat France. And if the United States doesn't beat one of those teams, I think that's okay. But in the round of 8 and the round of 16, losing to Japan or Morocco is not going to be okay. In the round of 32, losing to Bosnia-Herzegovina or Qatar is not going to be okay. And I don't know how we diverted into that because we were talking about Ronaldo. So to get back to Ronaldo, that's, I think, the same, though, for Portugal. I think if Portugal ultimately has a poor performance in the round of 32 or the round of 16 where Ronaldo really has never gotten past that monkey on his back, that dark cloud over his shoulder that just a few years ago, 6 years ago, we were having a conversation of who's the greatest of all time, Ronaldo or Messi. I don't think that that's a conversation.
Yeah, not anymore. Messi clearly separated himself, especially with the World Cup win in 2022. And back in 2018, there was that sort of debate about who was the bigger failure all time, with Argentina being unable to get over the hump. They ultimately did. And Portugal, this feels like the last chance to do that for Ronaldo. They're already trying to, and talking about, phase him out, like we said. So maybe that's what he's playing with, the chip on his shoulder. He's trying to power through that one last run to maybe strike that conversation back up again.
Yeah, then the only way right now, again, he's going to, I think, get back in that conversation is to either pad up stats and get those bigger numbers, or he's going to have to lead Portugal to a deep World Cup run. And I mean,
no, he has to win one. The only way to get back in the conversation is winning one, because at this point, 6 years ago, it was, who's going to ultimately be the better of the two, or who could be the better of the two? Who's the greatest? Since then, I mean, Messi's won a World Cup, an MLS title, and a couple of, I want to say it's the MVP, the and I'm going to get
the Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or. Thank you.
It was close.
Ballon d'Or. He won a couple of those where Ronaldo has gone to Saudi Arabia and been at best a mid player in a mid league. I mean, I don't know if there's a way for Ronaldo to get back in that conversation, but we're going to get back in this conversation right after this break. We're going to continue with our summer soccer coverage and our World Cup as we will get back into Messi, Mbappe, Haaland, Kane, and Balogun, and Vinny Jr., all 2, 3, 4 goals this year. This is a tournament of stars, and we're going to continue our coverage here on the CTV app, 2822 Sports Night. All right, we are back. We had our hydration break. We had halftime. So we're starting up the second 45 here on WBRE, WYOU 2822 Sports Night. We thank you for joining us, whether it be on Amazon, Apple, or the Roku app. Ricky Turner, executive producer, sitting in the chair as always. Right next to me as well, Nate Johns, our wonderful intern out of Penn State. We are
Penn State.
I'm not. He is. We were talking about the World Cup. We're talking about how this has been a tournament of stars, and I'm just looking at the table here. Looking at the table. You got to say it the right way. It's not the standings. It's the table. They're not matches. They're fixtures. It's not a field. We're on the pitch. Messi, 5 goals. Mbappe, 4 goals. Haaland, 4 goals. You got Vinny Jr. with 2 goals. Harry Kane, 2 goals. Balogun, 2 goals. And Ronaldo, 2 goals today. And then right behind him as well, Mohamed Salah with a goal. I mean, there are just some big names coming up and performing on the grandest stage of them all. I guess that's WrestleMania, actually. The biggest stage here. Is anyone going to catch Messi, though?
I think Mbappe, absolutely, with France, is going to be a candidate to catch Messi.
All right, better question. If Mbappe catches Messi, why do I keep doing that? Messi. If Mbappe catches Messi, does that mean that France is going to beat Argentina? Because I think that it's going to... It's so hard to say that these two teams are going to go back, but it's so hard for me to see anyone beating Argentina or France at this point.
Yeah, they're both just playing extremely well. Again, I think Germany's still a sleeper. Germany has put together some really good games. They have the 5th leading goal scorer in this tournament with Deniz Undav. He's been really, really good this tournament. He's got 3 goals, 2 assists as well. Only four shots on goal, which is arguably more impressive. But don't count out Germany. But again, I think if you're making a power rankings, you probably have Argentina and France at 1 and 2, just based off of how their first 2 matches have went.
I think there's 6 teams that could legitimately say they could win the World Cup this year. And then there's a handful of teams that are behind them as dark horses. Maybe 7, but I think 6 teams you could legitimately say yeah, without a doubt, at the end, if they were raising the trophy, you could see that happening. I mean, Argentina, France, Germany, Spain, England, and Brazil. I think any one of those 6, if they won the World Cup at the end of the year, you wouldn't be surprised of it. I think there's maybe 2 others that if Norway or the Netherlands won, you'd be surprised, but being Euros, it wouldn't be out of the question. So there's 8. I think if that's 8, I think the next group, that group of 9, 10, and 11, is where you have Japan, Morocco, and the United States.
I'd throw Portugal in that first group as well.
In the top 6, or no, I would have Portugal in the second group.
I'd put them in the middle. They'd probably be
In that second group with Norway and Netherlands. Yeah. So okay, yeah. So you England, Spain, Argentina, France, Germany, and Brazil. There's your
6.
top 6. There's your group.
right.
You got Norway, Netherlands, Portugal, 7, 8, 9. Morocco, Japan, United States, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That means to win a game in the round of 16, they're going to have to do an upset over those top 8 teams.
Yeah,
The States.
I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be a tough road no matter where you're going from. This looks like one of the deepest World Cup fields that we've seen in recent memory. We just went through, there's 12 teams who have a conceivable path to winning the World Cup, and there's always going to be upsets in there. Of course, when Croatia went on their run back in 2018, I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. France and Argentina was not quite surprising, but it feels like a deeper field. There's more opportunities for Cinderellas. There's more opportunities for upsets, and we've seen that outside of really France and Argentina, every contender has had flaws. There's been portions of bad play from every single one of them, and it really leaves the door open for a lot of teams in this field.
yeah, it does. There's a lot of teams, I think, in that second or third tier that could really, again, benefit from a tournament run. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if it happens with 1 or 2 teams. But yeah, I mean, anytime you're in that middle tier,
I forgot Mexico.
yes, I think we did. We talked about Mexico yesterday as well.
Yeah.
So there's 13.
Where do you put them? Would you put them in that with Japan, Morocco?
I
Or
put
would you
them above them. I would put them with
Norway?
Netherlands, Norway, and Portugal. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, we did forget. But again, I think that's a testament to how many. Because again, what's that right there?
That's 13.
13.
13.
Teams. And
then
16.
and then you'd still have Canada necessarily,
Canada's
who's
got
been
one of the
playing
leading-
really well and playing at home.
it's
You'd have the Swiss, who looked really good. Switzerland, there's 14, 15.
Switzerland, Canada is going to be really fun.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a deep field.
Colombia, 16, Colombia. Oh, James. He plays, oh, man.
Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
And again, it's going to be a fun. Again, just think this ends July 19th, so we've got a little under a month.
Does this end July 19th, or does this end the second the Americans are eliminated?
No, because I think there are still people out there that are even with maybe for the casual fan in the U.S., sure, but I still find it interesting because I think with such a deep field, anything could happen, and I think that is it's as you mentioned again, Argentina and France are the two powerhouse that really haven't looked beatable, but outside of them, it's really the top 5. 16, they're beatable.
See, the only thing I can't figure out is if some of these results are skewed because of the expanded field, but then you see some of the teams that are being successful who probably wouldn't have made it without like Cabo Verde would not have made it without the expanded field, but they drew with Spain and then won it.
Drew again.
Drew again, yeah. I mean, or who was it the other night? Just last night.
I was going to say Egypt's one of those teams as well.
No, you got Mohamed Salah. You always got a shot at it.
Yeah, but they haven't had the global success.
I understand that, but when you have Mohamed Salah, I mean, you always have some sort of shot at it. I mean, at one point in time, he was the best player on the planet.
Last night it was probably Jordan Algeria.
Yeah, Jordan Algeria was a good game, but no, Cabo. Oh, Curacao. Curacao drawing with Ecuador. That's another one that going into it, everyone thought Ecuador was going to roll through, and Curacao being the smallest of the country. So, and this is probably going to be the smallest of our segments here because we still got to get 2 more breaks in, and we're, content-wise, 35 minutes through 48 or whatever it is that we have to produce. So let's get one more in here. We'll do a short segment, then we'll get our last break, our hydration break in, and we'll finish out here on 2822 Sports Night on the WBRE WYOU CTV app. Ricky, did you guys have a bet last night? Did you guys put anything down on Boston or Miami?
No, I just think we had 2 differing opinions on what was going to happen.
And one of those was right and one of those was wrong.
Yes.
And was there any consequences for the individual who was not correct?
No.
Just friendly banter?
Yeah, I personally just thought that Miami was going to be the team that went to go get him, and sure enough, it happened, and I think I was asleep when it happened because.
My question: why is Adam Schefter the one breaking it to me?
Adam Schefter. Oh, yes. What the heck was that?
That was Ronaldo. You got the eyes on. That's why.
That's why.
Yeah. But again, why was it Schefter the one breaking the news to me?
That I don't know.
You got the text too, though, right?
I got the Shams notification.
Oh, no, my notification came from Shefty. But it said it was Adam Schefter breaking a notification for Shams, which was weird. It was Schefter breaking it, but saying it was first reported by Shams.
That is odd.
Maybe that's push notifications at work, I guess.
Okay, don't get bogged down on who's sending it to me. Someone just react to the Giannis trade.
Well,
either one of you, take the ball. I'm passing it.
We talked about it yesterday about what a potential package would look like. It seems like the hang-up for Boston was about the young players they would have had to give up in regards to Baylor Shireman and Hugo Gonzalez. In the end, it's a big package for Milwaukee. I don't know if it's a great one. Tyler Hero was injured last year and is probably getting traded somewhere else. Khalil Ware's a fine center, probably starting caliber, but not somebody that you need to hold on to when you can swing a deal like this. Kasparas Yakachonis is whatever. He was a first-round pick last year, didn't play a whole lot. And then, of course, Jaime Jaquez, who's been up and down in each of his first 3 NBA seasons. So nobody that really stands out from the deal. And then it's 2 first-round picks that are going to be in the 2030s and a pick swap. So it's a large haul in terms of what they got. I don't know if I love the quality of what Milwaukee's getting back.
I actually, again, I think the bigger part of this deal is probably those picks in 2030. Yeah, what is it? 2030 and
2031 and
2033.
Yeah.
I think those are the bigger framework of the deal, and I think this works for Milwaukee. Personally, again, they should not be looking to win now. I know that there's reports of them wanting Jaylen Brown because they wanted to stay competitive. The East is the East, but again, you're not looking to win. You have some intriguing young talent with Khalil Ware, with Jaime Jaquez Jr., and those 2 picks. Again, who knows how Miami's going to be, because Miami's an old roster. Giannis is old. Bam's pushing 30. Norman Powell's reportedly leaving. They have Andrew Wiggins. There's not really a lot to look forward to if you're
Well, one, I don't think Powell's leaving now. I think Powell was going to leave, but I don't think he's leaving now when you have the opportunity to have Giannis and Bam on the inside. That's going to open up a lot of shooting for Norman Powell. And if he does leave, I think that Miami's okay with it because, again, when you have Giannis and Bam on the inside, shooters are going to want to come and play in Miami and get their shots off. And that's what this league is now, is about shooting. But ultimately, I think you guys are looking at it, and the difference is necessarily not the haul that they have at this point in time. I don't think the trade is 100% complete yet, because for the trade to be 100% complete, One, I don't think Tyler Hero is a Milwaukee Buck at the start of the season. So whatever they get for Hero, which some teams may be willing to give up more than you would think for him, that ultimately is part of what you get for Giannis. So this trade is going to have a couple more ripples to it in the fact that I think Hero gets moved. I do think you're underestimating how good Kel'el Weir is going to be. Kel'el Weir is going to be a very, very good center in the NBA for a long time to come. But no, I think what it came down to, and despite whatever reports were coming out of the Boston area, and this is where now Boston is stuck.
Oh yes,
it wasn't Jaylen Brown ever to be the Bucks. Again, I don't think the Bucks ever wanted Jaylen Brown. I don't think that the Bucks thought they were going to be better off by paying Jaylen Brown and then surrounding him with the talent that was surrounded Giannis. Because again, Giannis is a better player than Jaylen Brown. Ultimately, they said, you know what, Boston, if you want to move Jaylen Brown, you figure it out. Don't send him to us for us to move him. You know, you figure out that third team. You figure out where you want Jaylen Brown to go, and then we'll help you facilitate, but we're not doing the work for you. And I don't think Boston was ever able to get that third team, and now they're stuck with Jaylen Brown, and I don't know where they go from there, because very rarely does a superstar ask to be traded and then come back and perform for the team. In fact, I can only ever think of one that asked to be traded and then continued their legacy with that team, and that was Kobe. Because people forget that he asked to be traded, but you know, it didn't happen, and he was okay coming back to the Lakers. Other than that, I can't think of a single one. Maybe Dwayne Wade, but Dwayne Wade had to go to Cleveland and Chicago before he could come home to Miami. But in that regard, yeah, I mean, Giannis and Bam in Miami is going to attract other players. So let's see how that roster fills out. And let's see where, I know I'm saying wait and see. I can see him over there.
I didn't say anything.
I mean, we have to wait and see what happens with Tyler Hero and where Tyler Hero goes to see what the ultimate exponential ripple effects are of this trade. But at any way, I don't think it doesn't propel the Heat past Boston at this point, but we have to wait and see what happens with Jaylen Brown and the health of Jason Tatum's Achilles. But I do think it pushes him past Cleveland for sure. I'll take Bam and Giannis over Mitchell and Harden. I do think it honestly pushes them past Detroit even as well, but not past that other team that I'm not allowed to talk about anymore.
I think it slots them in the second tier of the Eastern Conference.
Who's in the first tier?
The Knicks and the Celtics.
Okay. On that note, we're going to take our last break, and we're going to come back for our final segment here. And just know the team he said, because I can't say them anymore. So we'll be right back to wrap up WBRE WYOU 2822 Sports Night. I can't do that. We get in trouble. I had it in my head all day. I've had the song in my head. Yeah, we can't do that. I was about to. Ooh, we got 2 seconds though, so that's fine. I think you can do up to like 8 seconds without getting in trouble. So, yes, Hanson and Tonic, I believe. Yes, Hanson and Tonic announced today as the bands for the Scranton FIFA Fan Fest coming up July 3rd and 4th. No, it's July 4th and 5th.
Yes.
And then July 18th and 19th. So that will be fun. I'm excited. Hanson is back when I was a young pup growing up. In an umbop, I was gone. In an umbop, I was there. We're going to get ourselves in trouble. I'll stop. They're not going to be able to put this on YouTube. Right after they say, make sure that your stuff can go up on YouTube, I'm making sure that they can't. Oh, I'm going to get myself in trouble. All right. Let's get back to the NBA, though. The association draft night. We had mentioned kind of the overlying big story in leading up to the draft was going to be the future of Giannis. I think that shifts now, though. I think the big story now is what does Boston do with Jaylen Brown? Does he get moved tonight?
I see, the thing about this Jaylen Brown thing is this has been going on for a couple of years. If you remember back in 2022, they offered him for KD, I believe, in Houston. That ultimately didn't pan out, and the writing's on the wall of how this is going to end. I don't think it's going to end tonight, but I think it's going to get ugly.
They did say that the deal could get done tonight if there's a first-round pick involved. I don't think there's going to be any team that's willing to part with a pick like that.
Why would you not trade a first-round pick for Jaylen Brown?
I don't think it's going to be a team in the range that they want. That's the thing. Because look at the teams picking in the lottery. Who out of that group is a Jaylen Brown away from competing? Because it's nobody in the top 4.
Could you say Washington now after re-signing Trae Young and
I'm good.
AD?
That's a lot.
No,
of
thank you. That's a lot of money for 3 guys, 2 of whom don't play that much. And the third is wanting to be the head of his own team and would have to share that space with 2 superstars.
AD might not suit up in a Washington Wizard uniform either. So,
all right. Are you guys going to hate me when I say this? Could he end up in Oklahoma City?
I don't think they have the cap space.
They could figure out a way.
They're trying to figure out how to keep the current roster together.
No, they're not. They don't care about the current roster. They have 11 draft picks still over the next 4 years. They could just replace the current roster with a whole nother one.
Yeah, but they have 2 tonight, and they're trying to package them to maybe get something else down the road.
That's what I'm. What did they do?
I think they're going to end up moving one of those picks at 12 and 17. I think they're gonna end up, because again, originally I thought they were gonna try and package those 2, move up in the draft and back into the top 10, because I know they like the 7 foot, or they like Yaxel Lindenborg and Adi Mara too.
And listen, at this point in time, if you're the Thunder, at the beginning of this season, we were talking about the Thunder having the 3rd pick and the 5th pick in the draft, plus going 74-9 or whatever the new record would have been, and easing their way into a second championship. Now, they legitimately have to retool their roster to beat Wembanyama. They have to figure out a way to bring in almost very similar to what New York did, where New York developed a roster for the purpose of beating Boston. And then they did. And then they tweaked that roster for the purpose of beating Indiana. And granted, they didn't see Indiana this year, but the idea was they needed a roster to beat Indiana. So I think at this point in time, you have to look and say that Chet Holmgren is not going to develop and be better than Wemby. How do we help Chet Holmgren, or do we move Chet Holmgren and try to figure out a way to be better than Wemby? Because guess what? The Spurs next year are going to be better than they were this year.
Yeah, with playoff experience, with whomever. I mean, they're going to have some decisions to make with De'Aaron Fox in free agency, but those young guys are going to get more run. Wemby's going to have another year under him, and
Castle's going to be better.
Castle's going to be, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. They'll probably be in that top tier of the Western Conference, and they're
the favorites right now. They just lost 4-1 in the finals, and they ended up as the favorites. And I understand it, because I love the Knicks. It took me 53 years to see the first one. 41 years. I'm not 53, thank you. It took me 41 years to see the first one. I don't think it's going to happen back to back. But
we haven't had a back-to-back winner since
the 17-18 Warriors.
We've had 8 straight years with unique champions. It's the only time it's ever happened in the history of the NBA.
A lot of parity.
It gives a lot of teams hope as well, because they're all so different. Toronto brought in a superstar for 1 year. The Lakers built a superstar.
Hold on. Toronto brought in a superstar for 1 year. That roster is loaded.
So, yeah, it was a well constructed.
But that was the
roster
missing
as well.
piece.
I get that, but people sleep on how good that roster was. It was like, oh, it was Kawhi and a bunch of bums. No, it was Kawhi and a 2-time NBA champion in Pascal Siakam and a 2-time NBA champion in OG Anunoby.
Kyle Lowry's
They
no
had
slouch.
pieces.
Yeah.
Missing
Marcus
piece,
Gasol.
though.
I understand that, but that wasn't just let's bring in a superstar and now we're going to win it out of nowhere. That was a really good constructed roster by Masai Ujiri, who is known for constructing really good rosters. So let's give my boy OG a little bit of credit for being a 2-time NBA champion.
We can give them credit, but that's also
Who do you win that second one with?
New York Knicks.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead. I'm
But
sorry.
yeah, you have the Raptors. You had the Lakers who tried to build the super team. You have the Bucks who had their homegrown superstar. They've all been so uniquely built that there's really no way to sort of quantify a formula for how to build a champion just because of how crazy it's been over the last 8 years, but they've all been so different.
All right, finish us out, Ricky.
Well,
We're
it
running
has
out of
been-
time.
Yeah,
Just,
it
you
has
know,
been. It has been. It's very, again, it's a lot of parity in the NBA, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. But size and length, I think, are becoming the growing trend. And also, you do need a good point guard because that's something every championship team has had.
And the current champions have a point god, and that is the truth. And that is it for us tonight on WBRE WYOU 2822 Sports Night. We appreciate you tuning in, and make sure you catch us one more time tomorrow, 8 p.m. Whether it's on Amazon, Apple, or Roku, we will be right back here on Sports Night. Thank you.